We're joined by Sarah Spain. Of course, Izzy and Spain heard right here on 104.5 The Team, 9 to 11. Sarah, we know you're super busy. Thank you for making time for us.
Yeah, for sure.
We were just talking about the Raiders officially filing to go to Las Vegas. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I mean, as somebody who would like to be on the Raiders beat now that they're adding that, I approve. I think this is really dangerous for the NFL, this trend. And I think, you know, what we saw the people of California do in telling the Chargers we're not willing to pay for the stadium, and the research is showing us that, you know, the return on investment isn't there anymore. There aren't year-round jobs. There isn't a reason for taxpayers to be footing this bill. I think the more we see that, the more we're going to see teams look to move if it betters their bottom line. And, I mean, we've heard rumors, obviously, of the Raiders, Chargers, and Rams for so long. You don't anticipate, you know, the Chicago Bears or the Packers or something like that to make a move. But I just think it opens up a really dangerous precedent in the league. And I just think it's bad for football to have established teams with established fan bases move.
Levack is a big Raider fan, so unfortunately for him, his team is not playing in the AFC title game this weekend. It is the Steelers versus the Patriots. The other side, it's the Packers and Falcons. Which game are you looking forward to most this weekend?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You know, I think ladies love the long ball, so you got to go with the shootout, the Falcons and the Packers. But I think people are really underestimating the other half. I think the Patriots, as usual, have kind of just stormed their way through the season, and they seem unbeatable. But some of the stats coming out of that matchup are pretty incredible. Like, between the two of them, they've gone 17-0 since mid-November, and they've been top 5 in every major offensive and defensive category over that 2 months, both teams. New England hasn't trailed since week 12. That's the longest streak in 11 years. So, like, there's this matchup of two teams where you feel like you know who's going to win, but the Steelers have been hot, man. And that matchup, I think, could end up being a better game if the rest of the Packers, beyond Aaron Rodgers, don't present enough of a challenge to the Falcons.
We've got Sarah Spain with us. We're happy to have her. Izzy and Spain, 9 to 11, right here on 104.5 The Team every weeknight.
Sarah, your Twitter's blowing up because, like Levack and I, we're watching the Johnny Manziel Twitter over and over and over again. What are you making of Johnny Football taking over social media this afternoon?
I mean, I hope it's a real change. I hope he has had some sort of epiphany and has come out of the fog a little bit. But he's an interesting guy because I think we are so caught up in the salaciousness of a drug and alcohol addiction that we really haven't spent enough time on the domestic violence issue. You know, so he's a guy that I think inexplicably, as much as people want to hate him, they also kind of feel sorry for him and want to root for him. But I don't think he's done anything to prove that he's a good person and is worth rooting for. But I do think this couple tweets that he's sending out talking about how he acknowledges his own flaws, specifically saying I have to live these words, not just tweet them, is a really good step. I mean, if you talk to any experts, they'll tell you, you know, you have to acknowledge that you have a problem first, and he wasn't doing that for a really long time. I don't know if this means anything about his football career. I don't even know if that should be the most important, but those pictures that we saw coming out of Miami when the Giants were down there partying, man, he looked like he wasn't going to make it through this year. You know, right. So good to take the first step. Seems like he's got a whole lot of things to figure out, though.
See, that's the thing about him, Sarah, that I guess I don't get, because, yeah, just a week or two ago, you're partying. Now all of a sudden, hey, I'm working out 5-6 days a week. I'm going to make a comeback. It's going to be great. Well, what, 2 weeks from now, you're back on a boat?
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Remember when he was down in Mexico and he set this arbitrary date for his sobriety, and everyone was like, okay, wait, so you're picking 2 days before, I think it was 4th of July weekend. Like, you're picking 2 days before 4th of July that's going to be your arbitrary date of sobriety while you're still in Mexico in, like, a party house. It just seems so unrealistic. And so he seemed completely deluded about the amount of work that it would take to beat this addiction. And maybe now this is a different Johnny and he's in a different place. At some point, there's a rock bottom that's hit, and we don't really know what's going on with him. But if it's not breaking the eardrum of his girlfriend, and it's not, you know, losing his football career and losing his friends and family, then I don't know what has happened since that has really pushed him over the edge or how long this is going to last. But again, I mean, you hope for anybody's sake that they figure it out.
Sarah Spain with us now. You are the poster child for Chicago sports. Cubbies get it done. How are you feeling?
Yes. Still amazing. Anytime anyone mentions it, I start glowing. It's, it's funny because I wrote a story about it. There was a writer who was a big Red Sox fan, and he wrote after the Red Sox broke their long drought that things only get worse. And that it's hard because your whole identity has been based on losing, and there's nowhere to go. And my analogy was, if you go to the top of the mountain and you just never come down, the view is always going to be great. You just have to consistently remind yourself of the greatness and luckiness of being alive when this happened and being a part of it. And it does change your approach. I mean, there's something so depressing but simultaneously special about rooting for a team that is epitomizes the lovable loser and becomes the face of a drought for all of sports and life, really. And then to have them actually win, there's no better feeling, but it does change, looking at spring training or looking at next season. The desperation is gone. You still want to win. You want to have a dynasty, but it's never going to be better than this. This is the best it's going to get, which is depressing if you decide to let it be depressing, or it's amazing. Right? You could be like, this stinks. I'm never going to be as happy about a victory of any kind ever again as I am with this. But then you just have to feel lucky that you were part of it, because so many people before you never got a chance to be a part of it.
Well, Sarah, if there's any, I know this is going to sound like I'm being a jerk, but I'm really not. My first Yankees championship was 96. And everybody, I know the Yankees have won a ton since and the most and whatever, but not seeing them until then, 96 will always be my team, but I didn't love any of the others any less.
Right. I mean, I think the Yankees and the Cubs have slightly different histories.
I didn't say it to be a jerk, I swear.
I will love them any less. But yeah, I mean, as I said, you want to get a dynasty, and now you want, some new guy to come around that you become a big fan of, and you want him to get his ring and whatever else. But there's just, I think it's, for instance, the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks have won 3 times in 8 years, and I loved every moment of each of those. The first one was amazing. They'd had a 50-plus year drought, and the runs after that were equally as exciting. But there's something very specific about the Cubs that I just think there's no way to top it. And it's a very weird thing to be the best is not yet to come. It's over. It's never getting better than this. But it was so awesome. I mean, it was. Thank God it happened in such epic fashion. Can you imagine if it was just a really disappointing series? The fact that it was coming back from down 3-1, 7 games, rain delay, extra innings, you can't get any better.
I know you could talk about your Cubs for weeks, months, years to come. I know you are on Around the Horn today and tomorrow.
Yes.
For sports fans, what is the biggest, misconception or the coolest secret you have about Around the Horn you want to share with us that maybe people don't know about it?
Well, I always assumed because I've been watching it forever, and I always assumed when I watched it that they had pre-decided who was going to win, and that's how they had a FaceTime ready. And then the first time I showed up, they said, make sure you have a FaceTime ready in case you win. I was like, oh, this is a real competition. You really don't know who's going to win. And for instance, today I made it to Showdown. Oops, I just revealed that,
Spoiler.
but you'll see that soon on the show. And right before you go to the break for Showdown, they say, what's your FaceTime going to be if you win? And I was like, oh, I forgot again. Because when I go in, I'm not thinking about whether I'm going to win or not. I'm thinking about, what are the topics? What do I want to say? What are my takes? And so I was like, I've got a thing about the Hall of Fame and, the burden of proof for being a reporter and reporting PEDs versus the burden of proof required to not vote for someone if you think they're on them. And they're like, all right, that should be good in 18 seconds. I was like, yeah, I'll figure it out. And so, they definitely don't have a preset plan. In fact, there was one, so we pre-taped the show a little bit before it airs because there's so many moving pieces to be really hard to do live. And there was one time when something went wrong in the second segment, and when we redid it, I got fewer points and didn't make it to the Showdown. And the first time I did it, I was like, wait a minute, this is so unfair. This wasn't my fault that we had to redo it. And he was like, sorry, you didn't do as well this time around. There's definitely no predetermined winners on it. It's a super fun show. I love doing it.
Yesterday on the show, there was a clip of Siena head basketball coach Jimmy Patsos going through the line at the end of the game and shaking hands with nobody, the invisible line with the Ryder Broncos. Albany, New York, right. Siena, what did you make of Coach Patsos' move?
Oh, I loved it. I would have to dig deeper into what was the impetus of the other coach for skipping it. I feel like there was some sort of, head-to-head, and he didn't want things to get worse by I guess, being sportsmanlike at the end of the game. But I am 100% down for showing someone up when they don't abide by the standard, sportsmanship that we've agreed upon for all of our sporting activities. Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah, well, there's been suspensions, and everybody's had to sign the code of conduct for the MAC and everything. But after that, we're back to hoops.
Yeah, we both liked it too.
Sarah Spain, who catch her every weeknight here, 9 to 11. Izzy in Spain. Sarah, we appreciate you. And if you're going to be in Houston, Goz is buying drinks.
Yeah. Just for you, Sarah.
I'll be there.
Awesome.
I'll be there. You're going to be on Radio Row?
We're going to be on Radio Row, yep.
Yes.
Interviewing like Gilbert Gottfried and like a dude dressed like a frog and like a monkey baby something.
Yeah, selling Skittles and anything else they put in front of us.
Perfect. Awesome.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to join us. And again, we're gonna have an open tab on Goz's card. So.
Yeah, I don't know about open tab.
I'm down. I'm down.
Sarah Spain, one of our favorites. Thank you so much for making time.
Take care, Sarah. See you in Houston.
Thanks, guys.